guess what I got to do now is start sectioning up these logs. I've got, oh my God, probably 2 or 3 times this amount to get down and pull up out of the woods. Had our log buyer come through and look at it and basically tell me that however much I can produce like this, they'll buy it. So I guess I better get humping again. And some of this stuff is good, apparently. And from what I understand, I need to focus on the ash and leave the maple and the rest of it behind for now, just simply because I can't produce in order to get enough ash out to take advantage of the current pricing. You know, it may change in a week, it may change in a year. So just one guy coming out here cutting this wood, you know, I might be able to do a truck maybe every week, possibly every 2 weeks, and I don't have the bandwidth to take the other wood. You know, it's one of those discussions, do you hire somebody to take advantage of the prices on the other wood now? I've got 150 acres to go log, enough for the rest of my life, or just do what you do and take what you take and get what you can and have plenty of wood for next year, the year after that, the year after that. And that's kind of the approach I'm taking. But I had to reestablish a channel, right? You know, a decent buyer. The old throw it out for bid thing doesn't work so much anymore. What this is going to bring up is chains. So again, the goal of the day is to run a loop of freshly sharpened chain done with a square ground style of sharpening. And we're going to find out. Does it hold up? Does it not? Where was I? Oh, yeah. So anyway, I got a belt sander and went back and started cleaning up some of the handles I'd already done. Make them look a little nicer. I got to refinish them. And one of the ones I did was my wedge driver. That was this big old fat thing up there. And I was able to cut the profile down quite a bit with that little belt sander really rapidly. Now I'm going to change the finish on this, but for now, it works pretty good. Now, next time around that I have that tool, I can reshape this quite a bit and get the axe head to drop in even a little further. But also I use it to sort of clean up the edge. I don't know a thing about axes, but it doesn't seem to me like it's rocket science. Well, this one just snapped. I've had it happen with these orange ones before. I don't know who makes them. I can't read it, but maybe you can in the camera. But that's been a trend. So I like those ones I have with the white and the red tops. See if this thing's still recording. It is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish out with that chain, and then I'm going to go back and start splitting some with an axe. One I also did a little bit of modification to. I took that sander and worked around the back a little bit. I got a little more to do right there if I want to make it look nice. But I took a lot of the meat that was up here off. And in retrospect, if I had that belt sander, I could have reshaped this and set that head on just a little further. So live and learn. I got a bunch more to do. I'll set this up and see if it keeps going. It's actually a little scary how easy that axe is going through that ash, you know. Of course the ash is froze, and once it gets froze like that, it cuts easy. All right, so I got through and I filled up the little Husky and finished that last. I find it interesting that it took a full tank of gas to just do this much, and I didn't think this was a lot of logs. I didn't see this as being a whole lot, but then I started looking at how much time I've spent, you know. So I guess one tank actually goes for a fairly long period of time. And yeah, it's been idling some, right? But that chain cut straight all the way to the end, and it cut some grass and dirt along the way. But I guess that's that's sort of an endorsement of the way that young fella sharpens chains. He's another Matt, and there's still some life in it, but of course I'll sharpen it some more before I go out, or just put another one on. And I don't know, this is not huge wood, but boy, I have a lot of it. And I guess what I'm hearing is, even though this isn't what I would have considered something to harvest a few years back, it is now. For those guys who have ash in the woods that's nice and pretty much white all the way through. We'll see. I'm going to trim that one up a little bit, I think. That was the last cut I did, and I had to lean into it, but it made a nice chip just the same. Look at that. All right, about to go tree hunting again. I've been running this saw pretty much for the morning, and did some lemon and stuff like that, but I also did some bucking up of those logs. And so that chain, they got into the dirt a little bit, and I honestly think it actually survived. You know, it's not that bad. I had rocked it or something like that, so threw it into the box with misfit chains and the like, and the young fella who's kind of into doing that kind of thing decided he could sharpen these things using a square ground technique, and did so, and I got a bunch of them back, and this was the first one that I tried. I got through all those logs, and yeah, I can see where it's rolled over a little bit, but I could bear into it, still make a chip. Nice to have the horsepower to do that, and it still cut straight, so I'm pleased. But I don't want to bring that down to fell a tree. I really don't. And one of the things I've been trying to do is see if I can find other sources of supplies that are more common to, you know, average Joe who doesn't have a saw shop or that don't have a place like CNY Farm Supply around. And I got this at Lowe's, and it's an X-Cut C83. And what it looks like to me is this is a full chisel chain that has the Husqvarna logo stamped into each link. So I'm assuming this is a Husqvarna built chain. And like the other one I had that had the semi-chisel, it actually cut pretty well. It's got that little gold link right here, so when you do your sharpening, you know where to start and stop, right? I like that. But the shape of the tooth, top plate, all that, the raker, it's kind of aggressive. Same kind of style that you had with LGX or RS type chain, a little different, but same style, where it's a full chisel, you know. I kind of like the raker. I like the openness there, between the raker and the top plate. I kind of like the way that's shaped. Brand new chain out of the box. So I wonder how well it's going to last, because what I have now is I have to go find some more trees to drop. And the Battle of the Wedge Drivers, this is the one I made out of that goofy Vulcan axe because the axe handle broke. And it's worked pretty good for me. I mean, it's kind of a bulbous handle, but it kind of works. I've used it now for a while. Kind of like it. And then out of the bones of the other axe pieces, I made this goofy thing. This was a Walmart Chinese head that I used as a wedge and kind of beat to submission. I ground off the sides and stuff like that. And I went and cut the handle off another axe. Well, I used the axe head. Actually, it was this one right here. I cut the handle off of this axe right here and cut it down and stuck it in here. Did it with a rasp and a file, so it was kind of ugly. And then I discovered a cheap, I don't know why I do this stuff, a fairly inexpensive $60 belt sander, Harbor Freight. Realized I could have done a lot better job with that doing this handle. Could have done a lot better job on this handle if I had used the belt sander to sort of change the profile in order to get the axe head a little further on. So I'll wait for this one to break. It eventually will, and then I'll do that on the next one. But this, I didn't, it's a piece of junk, right? But I've used this now for, I don't know, a couple of forays into the woods, and it's a hell of a wedge driver. I'll tell you what. It's got a lot of surface area back there, so it's pretty easy to hit. And I'll tell you what, you don't have to swing hard, and it jams that wedge right into the cut quite nicely. So to wedge a tree over, this is actually an advantage. So, I mean, you think about it, all it is a hammer. And The only value I have to having an axe head on this thing right here is if I have to use it to chop a saw out of a bind. But so this one here is probably better, probably smarter, but I'm going to run this one today, I think. So I guess let me change the saw, change out the chain. And again, one of the things I like about these series of saws, 372 on, is that internal clutch, external sprocket, and of course the other thing I like about these saws is the fact that these nuts are captured on the side cover, clutch side cover. So when I have gloves on and it's cold and all the things I want to whine about, you know, I don't drop the nuts. So this is the chain that came off. You know something? This was actually steel RS. You know that? That's why it's lasted so damn long. It's got those hard teeth, and he put a good edge on them. Look at that. I think it's steel RS. That's a good chain. Nice job. And it held its edge. I may use it again. I may touch it up and use it again. And this is what's going on. The Husqvarna X-Cut. And this is their most aggressive version. So I guess what I'll do is I'll just carry the camera and my axe, and we'll see what we can find. Add to the pool of trees. And of course, anything I'd cut here, I'm going to have to skid up the bank. And I thought I had seen a few trees that were on the bank that I could just reach down and get. Now I was told not to be afraid of taking down some maple, but I don't know. There's one right there. I see a tree. Let's go take that one. Start with that. Figure if I get a few trees down on the ground, you know, then we can come out with the tractor and skid them out. I'm going to leave this little one right here. Looks like a hickory though to me. But it is an ash. Now they were trying to tell me to take down all my ash trees because if I don't, it's going to be firewood anyway. That actually would be a big enough tree to take. But I'm not sure I want to yet. Let me see what I got. Where would I send this one anyway? If you look the way it kind of leans that way. So I'd have to drop it into that mess right there through all those branches. And I'm not sure it's going to do that. I see a big ash right there, right in front of me. And I see one further. So what will happen is if I go out and make some room, I can eventually work my way back to this one. You know, that's a strategy, I suppose. Get rid of this little maple right here. You know, but I got to make some room further down. See, that was the one I was looking at right there. If you look here, that's a nice tree. I wonder if I can send it down the bank, right between all that other mess. Then I can pull it up with the winch. I still see some more. So there's one candidate. That would add to the bottom line right there. Geez, there's another one right next to me. So there's 1, 2, 3 minimum. There's a little tiny one. And there's this big guy right here. And I don't know if I can wedge him over, but I'd like to try. Yeah, he definitely wants to go the wrong way. And then there's another one right next to him going up to the fence line. That's a big tree right there. Holy crow. Wow. Boy, I wonder if I can get that one down to where I can hook onto it with the winch. That's a very big tree. I don't like cutting uphill, but let me see, if you look at that tree and the way it goes up, there is some weight towards me. I mean, I could probably get it towards where I'm going. Let's see what we have on this side. I don't know, man. Oh, look at that one. There's one over there. So there's actually a nice one down there that I probably ought to take care of first. Let me get that one. And then, boy. I mean, I could send it up to the fence line and pull it out that way. That'd be a hell of a mess to clean up, but man, I don't want to be down here. So here's the thing. Theoretically, and this is a big tree. This is not a small tree. I can wedge this one over. I think I can. And one of the things that happens is that when they tell you to do like a 10% cut, think about it this way. If I put my hinge right here, right? And then I have my wedges back there. I've got damn near 2 feet of lever arm to work that tree up and over to get it to tip over. Whereas if I cut way back in here, I only got about a foot. And that's just way too big. You'd never wedge it over. So the good news is, when you look at this, is this side right here is straight. Even though the tree is leaning that way, that's straight. So if I can make my hinge right here, and then use all that distance to leverage it, there's a chance I can wedge it down into there where I want to go with it. And if not, then I have a real problem, because if it falls that way into those trees where it wants to, let's say it breaks loose, it's going to hit those and then slide right back. And that's dangerous as all get out. And that's the kind of thing that scares me, you know, because I'm sitting here downhill from a monster like that. So what I would do, boy, if I can wedge that, that would be great. Yeah, I don't know. I think I could probably wedge it that way. I think I'm going to try. I think I'm going to give it a shot. Before I do that, though, I've got, my God, I've got another one. My God, they just show up. I got 1, 2, 3 over here. So I got to take down those first in order to make room. So let me shut the camera off, get my saw. It's going to be a little fuzzy because my tripod let go and let my camera face plant, which is not good.